Okay, good. We're live. Yeah, good, good. Yeah. What do I see? There we go. Cool. Wow. Sorry, I took so didn't get started on time. But anyway, wake up. Welcome to Sunday Night Live, Monday morning live on planet Earth. Hmm. So here we are. Uh, okay. And let's see. Am I seeing anybody here? You guys showing up yet? Starting to come on. Okay. Cool. Anyway. How's everyone? I mean, is is life pretty crazy for everybody, Mm. or is it normal? I guess some people have normal lives. I mean, life's pretty normal, right? Status quo. Um, anyway, let me get started right away. I have, I know that some of you have joined the groups, right? You all know that the groups have started, right? And so, for example, in the health and healing group, last week, the topic of our Zoom, our group Zoom, we have large group Zooms, um, was just the basics of a healthy life. Fundamentally, what you do to stay healthy, and you know that was, um, and actually, if you join the group, you can see all the previous ones. So it's, that was fun to talk about. And then in the CFC group, we talked about vitamin C, what kind, how long should we take it, all that sort of thing. So I give a presentation with a PowerPoint at the beginning just to get everyone. Good morning, Jill, and good morning, Nicole and Melody. Yay. Um, so this week, parasite group. We're going to talk about what is the best parasite protocol and for how long. What is the best parasite protocol and for how long? So we're going to go over that. And that's actually tomorrow. Hmm. And then the CFC group this week will be talking about this. I want to clarify that what they're saying is wrong, which is why I don't like you to use those words. Don't use their words, but more. Anyway, it's called stage 4 CFCs. I'm not going to call it Sagittarius. Stage 4 CFCs, is that really end stage? Because they call it end stage. It's not. Just a spoiler alert, it's not. But that's the topic this week that we'll be talking about. All right? And everyone knows that Twitter's the only one that is Dr. Thomas Lodi MD. All the other ones are Dr. Thomas Lodi, right? You can find me there. On Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And let's hope that TikTok doesn't find anything wrong with me today. I'm going to try not to say anything hateful. That's what they said. I said last week. I don't remember saying anything hateful. I don't know about that. I didn't use that word, but I guess maybe just using that word, did I just trigger an algorithm? Anyway, that's the thing. I'm not. I know they have these AI algorithms that go around and look for certain words, so I got to be careful. Somebody sent me really. I would appreciate that. Somebody sent me a kind of a to realize that whenever they're like monitoring me and ready, and like TikTok wants to set, let's go ban me, it's because they have this AI algorithm that just looks for certain words. So I have to be careful. I don't even know what those words are. So good luck with that, right? Okay. So anyway, let's get into the questions right away. Let's not mess around. You know, before we do that, what I wanted to talk to you about if you guys know George Harrison, you know the Beatles, the first album of George Harrison's after they broke up on his own. There was an album called All Things Must Pass, pretty good album. Anyway, on there was a song called Beware of Darkness, and a fantastic song. But anyway, I wanted to talk about beware of convenience because I want you to understand what convenience means, okay? If you were to look up the word convenience, you're going to find out that what it means is it's a method, something, whatever the convenience, that convenience is a method that's going to allow you to accomplish something with less effort. That's the whole idea of convenience. How can I do something with less effort? Okay, well that idea, first of all, that idea is I'm not sure where it came from. I don't think it's innate to us. I just don't. I think it was. I think the 1900 self-reliant, self-confident, well-read human being in any country wasn't looking for convenience. It didn't come up to their. It wasn't. It wasn't. They just lived. They made what they made. They could probably make all their clothing, all that, right? Okay, we've talked about that. Okay, so anyway, but now convenience. So we use a remote control, right? We use a remote control for the air conditioning, for the TV, whatever. Why? Why? So we don't have to get out of the chair. We don't want to walk. All right. Yeah. And then we use transportation vehicles, right? Why do we use cars? Plane. We don't have to walk. We don't want to walk. It's convenient not to walk. Okay. So, all right. And then we use communication devices that we're doing right now, and we use telephones and all that stuff, right? Why? Because it's convenient, but it precludes, it does not allow the ability to develop your own communication skills. And when I talk about communication skills, I'm not just talking about using proper language or the way in which you frame a question or frame an answer. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that we know there is telepathy exists. We know that, right? We had remote viewing. The CIA were training people to remote view. The Soviets, during the Cold War, the Soviets were training people to remote view. What is remote view? Lie down and go somewhere. And then the CIA agent who was a remote viewer would tell his superiors that hey, there's a Soviet sub at this latitude, this longitude off the coast of Maine, and it was right. So they were able to do that. So that's our capability. We never even consider it. Now imagine if we developed that. Imagine if we grew up developing that. Remote viewing, and how about telepathy? What if we developed that? What if within us, it's everything that we're trying to put out outwardly, we're trying to control, make outwardly in machines? What if we're capable of it? What if we have the most complex and most precise and most incredible computer in our called the brain? And you all know we don't even use, they say a tenth, none, maybe 1% of our potential brain. Ugh, no idea, but we're never going to find out. But you know why we're not going to find out? Because we're looking for, we want to make it out here, right? It's an external thing. We're ignoring the fact that we were given and we were delivered and we came upon this earth with the most incredible earth suit you could ever imagine, beyond our imagination. We don't know what this earth suit could do. We don't know, and we don't care. We don't explore it because we're looking for we're looking for ways of not doing anything now. And I don't know why. And that came about because of the structure of society and all that sort of thing. And I get that. Okay, so. But anyway, the concept of convenience results in us producing technology, and the technology is going to preclude completely our ability to evolve as our potential. We don't have no idea what our potential is. No concept. You know, but I do know this. I know that people can live into the hundreds and 900. I know that. I know that they have remote viewing. It's a real thing. I mean, it still exists. Um, we know in India, people that work on themselves inwardly can do things that we think are impossible. They actually levitate. They can levitate. I've seen it. I've seen it. They can. They do, and they don't do it for any kind of. It's not a show. It's just things that happen to them. It comes along with developing this mind brain complex. It just comes along with it. So we don't know our powers. But anyway, what's the ultimate? What would be the ultimate convenience? Okay, I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to get. I don't have to. I don't want to turn on the TV. I don't want to turn on the air conditioner. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get up to do that. Well, why should I get up and do that? Okay, so what am I going to press a button now? You know what? I don't want to go to the store. I don't want to go shopping. I'm going to call, and they're going to deliver it to me. So that's convenient. That's very convenient. Okay, so now I didn't have to do anything to get. I'm going to have food. So ultimately, you understand how we're going to get, how convenient we're going to get. I'm sure we're going to have specialized chairs with holes in them so that we can defecate and urinate without having to get up because it's more convenient. It'll be washed away. It won't be a problem. Okay, so we don't have to get up to defecate or to urinate. We don't have to get up if we want to eat. We can press buttons to do whatever, to be entertained, to watch, to learn, to read. Wow. You know what? I mean, one day we won't have to even move. Yeah, just think how convenient that is. That's incredibly convenient. I don't have to move. And I press a button, it turns into my bed. I'll never have to move again. Never. And how convenient is that? Well, it just turns out that if you ever think convenience is, this is the opposite. Because what happens? Your muscles will atrophy. The relationship between your brain and your muscles, which is very important for all over cognition, will atrophy. And everything that you need to feel healthy and strong and all that is not going to be utilized. And pretty soon you're going to become an atrophied pleasure machine, seeking pleasure, just getting all your senses satisfied without moving. This is not a goal. I mean, no. You know what a goal is? You know what feels good? What feels good? Do you ever hike up a mountain and you get to the top and you just feel fantastic? Huh? Or you go for a run or a bike, you're moving around, your body's moving around. And anyway, so living actually, and I want to take this one step further because, when I was a psychologist and working in that area, there's many definitions of neuroses and psychoses, etc. And so psychosis is pretty easy. It's when you have a different reality than everyone else. Period. I mean, you can say it in other ways, but when your reality doesn't match what the agreed upon reality is, you're psychotic. So you can see how bizarre that definition could ultimately turn out to be, right? Um, so, right, like if they're telling us that war is peace, we're gonna bomb. If we bomb these people, it's freedom. We're gonna bomb them into freedom. Uh, but anyway, my interpretation and my definition of the word neuroses, because you've heard of that, right? The word neuroses. He's neurotic, she's neurotic. The way I have come to conclude that neurosis is the degree to which you are able to manipulate others to do something so that you don't have to do it is the degree to which you're neurotic. Neurosis is avoiding direct interaction with your environment, whether it's with people or things, and manipulating others. So neurotic neuroses are good at manipulating, whether, and you can, now manipulation of other people is not just, um, do me a favor, can you go get that for me? Or it's not just that. There are other ways of manipulating people, like, for example, hey, is anything wrong? Nothing's wrong. Are you okay? I'm fine. All right, so this is a manipulative behavior. And there are, we're full of them and we're good at them, and that's what we do. So the degree to which we manipulate others to directly to do something that we could directly do with our environment to achieve, to satisfy some sort of either desire or need, that the degree to which we do that is the degree to which I consider neuroses. Okay, so a non-neurotic, completely healthy person would not manipulate anyone. They would just do. I got to get this. They do it, right? But you got to delegate. I understand that. So you're in business and all that stuff, and your job is the administrator of the center. There's no way you can do it all. So you've got it's called delegation, but it's structured that way, and it has, you still have what you have to do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in our personal lives. In our personal lives, how much, what degree do you manipulate others to do, to accomplish, to do what you could do? Okay, and again, that goes back to convenience. Convenience is not doing. Let me not do. What I want to do. I don't want to say. Wow. In Thai they say pakpon. Pakpon means relax, sabai sabai. Right. So I don't want to do anything today. And Thai people really like that. I can't. I can't pakpon. Midai look. I get. I get really bored. I like being alive. I'm really glad that I got this Earth suit. I love living in the flesh. I love be, you know being here, and I don't want to be like on a chair somewhere. So anyway, I don't understand that. I mean, I don't have that mindset, but I can understand how it evolved and all that sort of thing. But anyway, my bottom line is this: believe me, it is not convenience. What we're calling convenience is a way of them, and they are eventually completely usurping our autonomy as individuals. It is a way that eventually we will no longer be autonomous individuals. Okay, because everything, we won't know how to do anything because out of convenience we have relinquished our role in that. I, we've given it away. And now here we are. And that's pretty much what happened. The 1900 individual, human being born, I mean, a 30-year-old individual in the year 1900 and a 30-year-old individual today, almost a different species, right? Because what we know how to do today, if we're 30 years old, we can definitely get online, figure out how to do anything on the computer, right? We're good at that. Technology, we got it down. We grew up with it. We got it down. We can order anything. We can do anything. We can illustrate things. We can edit things. We're just really, really good at that. And what else we can drive cars, and we can, what else? Mm, anyway, when you started to add up all the things that we're doing, that we do in our daily lives, that we're capable of doing, and that we're proud of, and that we go to school for, are what? Are have nothing to do with being alive. Have nothing to do with you, a human being on a planet Earth, needing to live and survive and enjoy your life. Nothing to do with that. None of us know how. I mean, I'm not saying some of you were smart enough to figure that, to go get experience and training, but none of us know how to survive if we were put into a jungle, if we were put into a forest. No, we don't know how to survive. We don't know what's food. We don't know what plants would be poisonous. We don't know. Most of us. There's some of you out there that really, you know, watch those things. But there were those reality shows where they put people on an island and they'd say I don't know, and they would have to. There was some contest or something, and so they would. Because why? Why was that a show? Because nobody knows how to do those things. We don't know how to do it, but we're going to show them. We're going to figure it out. And as soon as you figure it out and you win the prize, you go back to convenient. I'm convenient. Press, press, press. Convenient. Convenience means you're not going to move around. You're not going to. Your body's not going to exercise. You're not. You're going to get sicker and sicker and sicker. You won't live as long, and you will not have enjoyed it, and you will not have been there. Because if you're pressing these buttons so that you can look at something virtually, that means you're not doing it. So, like, I'm gonna. What, so, what are you watching tonight? Watching? What do you mean watching? Why'd you watch what TV show? So, in other words, we're gonna watch other people live their lives. We're gonna watch other people live their lives. Okay. Um, hmm, I remember back we used to. Can you believe how crazy we were? We used to read these things, these books. We used to read them. Can you believe it? Is that ridiculous? Come on. I mean, reading a book. Give me a break. Come on. There's much more important things to do. Do you know what's on tonight? I mean, do you know what's on? Anyway, anyway, let me finish this up with just saying that convenience will lead us to having relinquished our authority over our own autonomy, and we're marching into captivity. And you know who you got by your hand there? You got your kid. Bringing your kid into captivity too. So the insanity and evil uh, of convenience. I should really study that a little bit. I mean, and come up with a coherent book because I know I didn't probably sound coherent to you guys. Anyway, let's get into the questions. Um, so the first one here is from Maria. And she says, "Hello, Dr. Lodi. I'm a 60-year-old female who is starting to feel discomfort with entire body aches and pains. I understand that weight gain, age, and sedentary lifestyle can lead to diseases." She's using that word diseases. "Please guide me where to start towards restoring my health back. Thank you." Well, Maria, I'm glad you're asking. 60 and we all know. Remember what we all know. Even if you didn't know, you knew it. When I say it, you're gonna say, "That makes sense." The first 50 years in life, we are free. You can pretty much do whatever. They're free. Second 50, you got to earn, and decade by decade, I'm telling you, it doesn't. You got to earn it. Part of the first 50 should be uh, devoted to learning how to earn that second 50. But anyway, here you are at 60. That's great. So anyway, but what's not, and what's very interesting is Maria and everyone really listening to this understand that why is Maria asking? Aches and pains. Okay, so aches and pains. So once again, we are not that smart. Nah, I wouldn't say that. I'd say we're stupid. Human beings, we're stupid. You know why we're stupid? Because it takes pain and suffering to get us to change. Why should I change? Everything's great. I do that. Yeah, it's not great. You're not feeling good. Uh, everything's not great. So once we get pain and suffering, then we say, you know what? I better do something. Okay. So anyway, that's the blessing of pain and suffering. So you've been blessed. So anyway, if your entire body aches, aches and pain, I can just understand. What that means basically is, and I want to draw I want to alert everyone. I've said it multiple times, but it's basically it's the body has low voltage, and what I mean is cellular voltage, which doesn't therefore doesn't allow communication between um, organs and cells. Look, what is voltage again? Cellular voltage is the net electrons available to do work, because we are electromagnetic beings, right? EKGs, EEGs, electroencephalogram, etc. We are electromagnetic. And when those lines are flat and the electrons are not flowing, it's over. Okay, so that's it. So that's what we are. A part of what we are. So, um, so aches and pains are an indication that the voltage is low. Now, what is two other methods of talking about electrons and their relationship to health are something called pH, acid base, acid alkaline, and the second one is um, antioxidant and oxidant. Because why? Because the acid solution steals electrons, and the alkaline donates electrons. Period. That's it. So when you have a pH of 7.0, you've got as many electron stealers as electron donors. When you get a little bit more electron donors, you're alkaline. A little more, if you're on the other side, you're a little more stealers. Well, what's the big deal about stealing an electron? Electrons are kind of life. We think of them as flying around the nucleus of an atom, but other than that, if we get them to flow down a wire, you get electricity. If you're in the ER and your heart's fibrillating, they're going to get these paddles and zap you with electricity to try to correct that arrhythmia. Why are we having an arrhythmia? It's an electrical phenomenon. Yeah, we are electrical phenomena. Very important to understand. All right, now electricity is the flow of electrons. All right. So a healthy cell has anywhere from -22 to -25 millivolts. It's the voltage of a healthy cell. You get down to 15, you got aches and pains. You're not feeling good. 5, and you're not going to be able to do much and all that. So your voltage is low. Now alkalinity, what is that? Like an oxidant, something that oxidizes. It steals an electron, just like acid. And then the antioxidant, or the reducing equivalent, such as vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin A, the carotenoids. But these are antioxidants. They donate electrons. So that's it. It's either taking or stealing. So you're low on electrons, and you're low for many, many reasons. Yeah, sedentary lifestyle will result in that, because you're not moving around. We were just talking about convenience. You're not moving around. Remember, your muscles are like kind of the engine. They get your metabolism going. And then because they require glucose and all that, it just sets the whole metabolic process in motion, right? And part of that metabolic process is increasing blood flow and all that, which means what? You get rid of these wastes and all that. And so you wind up cleaning it up, and you get rid of toxins, which are basically fundamentally at the end, toxins are stealing electrons. So that's why it's sedentary, and it's weight gain for sure, and age. Age is not necessarily age. Age, what we call aging, is the accumulation of toxins over time. So when we accumulate toxins, actually, when you're born healthy, your ability to eliminate toxins is powerful. You look at a young child's bowel movements, the urinations and stuff like that. It decreases until you get to adulthood, where it doesn't happen as like anywhere near it did as a child. Well, that's just one on a gross level aspect. It's not a more detailed aspect, but evaluation. But on a cellular level, a tissue level, you're not cleaning up metabolic wastes very well, and they're collecting. Anyway, this toxicity, and where do we get toxins? Everywhere. Well, we live in a sea of toxins. We have these chemicals that cannot be utilized by the body. and so they have to be gotten rid of. So, so what you need to do, Maria. I'm so glad you're, asking this question. And the weight gain, I'll go. The weight gain is kind of a way of moderating or identifying the degree to which you are living in violation of natural law. In fact, all of our aches and pains, every ache and pain and everything that we get is an indication that we have been living in violation of natural law. Okay. Um, so, what you got to start with is got to clean out the toxins. That's where you start. And you do that with a good juice cleanse. And I would say 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 4, 6, 8. And you know what? Not only can you do it, you're going to be, it's going to be a point, it's going to be the point in your life that you're going to say is the point that I was reborn. Okay. You get past the first 3 to 4 days where you're battling the monster inside called appetite, right? I got to eat, I got to eat, I got to get past that. Do a very thorough, fresh juices. Make sure they're delicious, not just fruit. It's kale, um, celery, cucumber, kale, spinach as a foundation, and add lemon, apple, whatever you need to make it delicious. Make it delicious. But the lemon does get rid of the bitterness that might be in the particular batch you've got. You can add arugula. You can add whatever you want. And instead of apples, if you prefer carrots, put that in. Don't drink pure carrot juice, but add the sweet so that it's delicious. Add enough to make it delicious, delicious, delicious. And drink, 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 drink 3 quarts a day, 4 quarts a day, so that you're going to the bathroom, urinating all the time, and all this. And the first 3, 4 days are going to be really hard, and then all of a sudden you're going to say, "Wow, I feel good, and I'm not hungry. What was that? I'm not hungry." And then you keep going, and you keep going, and what's gonna come to mind is, and I want to chew. I want to chew. I want to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. I want to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. I need to smell, taste, chew, and swallow. If I don't smell, taste, chew, and swallow, me, what's life all about? And that's it. So take some of your juice and put it in ice cube trays and make some ice cubes. And when you want to chew your ice cube. Okay, that'll help you. Your juice cube. Anyway, get through it. Do that out. Clean that out. Go find a colonic therapist and make sure she or he's been doing it. Usually she's been doing it at least 5 years. At least I'd say even longer. And they're certified. Uh, and that. And then move. Start moving. 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 You got to start moving. All right. Um, when you get to the elevator and you're to go to the third floor, say, you know what, I'm going to skip the elevator. Well, it's inconvenient, but yeah, it's kind of convenient in that it's going to save your life. So that's kind of convenient, right? Convenient. Okay. So we're going to reassess the whole concept of convenience. Convenience is doing whatever I should do to make sure that I keep doing it longer. Yeah. And we can take care of that habit. You know that habit we all have. I know you have this habit, so because you're here, and that's called breathing. It's like amazing thing to do. I love it. Right? You love it. Okay. So we want to keep breathing. Um, so you cleanse green juice, the juice with the fundamental green as a foundation, but add what you need to make it delicious. Even if it's a little sweet, it doesn't matter. Make it delicious. 3, 4 quarts a day. 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you will have gone through a transformation. Guaranteed. Look, you've eaten for how many years? And you're going to eat more for how many years? Take a little time out, a short time in your whole lifespan to get clean up, right? I mean, how many of you have cars? Okay. And tell me about you didn't get the oil change for 2 years. So, do we ever change our oil? Nah. We get a tune up? Nah. Okay. Yeah. That's how we do it. Changing our oil is doing a juice cleanse, and eventually you'll learn how to do water cleanse, fasts, and and that is basically undoing the wear and tear, getting rid of the toxins so that we can regain our full voltage. But that's where you begin. The other thing is, Maria, go to bed. Get in bed around 8. Try to get to sleep the latest 9. Okay. Um, and you're 60, so you stop eating 5 hours before sleep. It's okay. That's just the way you have to do it. So you're gonna have to finish eating by 4 p.m. Okay, no problem. But you should finish at night, and you want 18 hours between last meal and first meal. So if you stopped eating at 4 p.m., that means you can have your first meal at 10 a.m. That's pretty cool. That's not hard. It's not hard. You can do it. And you just give yourself 18 hours. That means your fasting insulin's gonna go down. And you're gonna watch yourself metamorphosize. I promise you. Clean your colon, do all that, move around, and then also learn to meditate, pray and meditate. All right. Now, this is from Gene, and it says, "What is the absolute bare essential, unequivocal advice you would give a person with CFCs, bone marrow CFCs, for a DIY?" Now, I've just learned this new acronym. You know what DIY means? I didn't. I had no idea. Somebody gave it to me the other day. It means do it yourself. Actually, that's pretty cool because that's the opposite of convenience, right? You're gonna do it yourself. No one else is gonna do it for you. I like that. Okay, so let's all DIY. Okay, let's all do it ourselves, and not have anybody else do it. Hey, can you get me? Uh, I'm not. I'm gonna go get it. Stop doing that. Don't ask people to do something for you. Right? Come on. Get up and do what you need to do for your life. Be the one who is taking care of you, right? That's what it comes down to. Okay, so anyway, so what you wanted to do it yourself at home treatment. If some of the things that I recommend are hard to come by or too expensive, I get you. It's all too expensive, all too expensive. Now, the absolute bare essentials. Okay, so uh, well, okay, the where is that? I got this great stuff. It's a what do you call it? It's a mushroom blend. Instead of coffee, it's a mushroom blend. It's pretty good. It's delicious. Anyway, so the bare essentials are this. First of all, just understanding what we understand about CFCs, which is just one particular adaptive response to the same phenomenon of accumulating toxins. Um, First of all, you've got to get rid of all toxins since that's the ultimate goal. You've got to start with your mouth. So if you have limited resources and all that, spend it on your mouth. Go get a cone beam CT of your jaws. Make sure that there's nothing in there because what if the hidden dental infections in your jaw, um, that's it. If you have them and you don't take care of them the right way, the correct way, you can never get healthy. So that is very fundamental, essential. The next thing is what I was just talking about. Do a cleanse, juice cleanse, do your colonics, go to bed early, eat only human food. Try that. Eat only human food. What is only human food? Uncooked vegetables. Ew, uncooked vegetables. Oh my God, how boring. No, it's not boring. You you'd be shocked at how delicious it can be and what you can replicate if you get good at it. Why do you want to get good at it? Because your what is it? Life. That's right. Your life depends on it. Yeah, your life depends on it. Hmm. Your life depends on you living a life that's within the uh, requirements of your biology. Right? So your biology has certain requirements, like you got to breathe air, you got to sleep, you got to defecate. Those are your biology requires. Okay, you got to just those have to happen. That gets impeded with waste accumulation, toxemia. Okay, so basically, what I was just saying before to Maria is it goes for Eugene. All those things. Now, you're talking about though with bone marrow CFCs that you already have. So what else do you need to do, right? You need to make sure you've got the vitamin C, the vitamin A, and the vitamin D, right? And we know about you've learned how we uh, talk about that. Vitamin D3, take K2, it helps it. Uh, but if you just have the D3, it's fine. But K2 helps. Uh, How does D3, how does vitamin D work to your immune system to make you stronger and help eliminate those CFCs? Vitamin D is not really D; it's a hormone that's produced when the light hits your skin and causes a change in your cholesterol to what is called vitamin D. Pretty amazing, right? So we know that light does that. What light does to green leaves is it takes carbon dioxide and water and turns it into it helps it gives is the energy for the plant to turn it into glucose and oxygen. That's pretty cool. And now in our skin we can make cholesterol. We turn cholesterol into vitamin D, what we call vitamin D. Anyway, it's got multiple functions, vitamin D, with calcium absorption and other things, but it has to be escorted around the body, and it's escorted by what's called vitamin D binding protein made in the liver. And that vitamin D binding protein has a secondary job, and that is to activate macrophages, which are the bridge between your innate and your adaptive immune system, which is exceedingly important. So that's why um, vitamin D. That's one of the ways that vitamin D does it. Vitamin A, we find that it's like um, you know first of all, vitamin A is necessary for all of your epithelial surfaces. That means the lining of your GI tract, the lining of your lungs, the lining of your bladder, uh, and your eye, all that sort of thing, right? So it's considered a micronutrient, right? Because there are macronutrients, there are micronutrients. Um, but and we think of it as vision, right? Well, it's very important. It's very important for vision, but it's also important for the integrity of your entire epithelial system, which is everything on the outside, skin, and everything that lines everything. It's pretty important, right? But in terms of the immune system, it actually promotes the regulatory function of your immune system, the innate and the adaptive, right? And so, and when they um, in um, in what they call third world countries, when they have epidemics and other kinds of illnesses, they make sure that they get vitamin A, they get zinc, they get those things that you're not supposed to know about. But yeah, it works pretty good, right? Now, your mouth's ability to protect itself and to maintain a healthy biome is dependent on vitamin A as well, right? We're calling it vitamin A, all right? And so it's exceedingly important, right? And you can find it in all the plant foods. You can find it in spinach, carrots, grapefruits. It's everywhere. You get it there, but I take extra because we need to get up to the upper limits of normal. You want to be in the high 90s, all right, with the vitamin A. With vitamin D, you want to be at 100. Vitamin C, you're going to get some liposomal sodium ascorbate, not ascorbic acid, sodium ascorbate. You're going to take about 2 grams 4 times a day, and that should be. It might be enough. You might need you might need to do it 5 times a day. Or sip 7 to 7, you put 8 grams in water, powdered sodium ascorbate. And you drink that 1 liter over 12 hours. So you have to take small sips. That way you can absorb it. So you got your vitamin A, your vitamin D, your vitamin C taken care of. The other one is iodine. You got to get iodine. Iodine is, I don't know why it was overlooked. It's very, very important uh, for breast health, for ovarian health, for uterine health, for prostate health. Um, it also is in the interstitial fluid. It's actually prevents the growth of tumors and spreading of tumors. Um, I mean, iodine is just crazy important, and it is also in the one form, in the iodide form. It's your thyroid needs it, and because the goal of thyroid gland is to produce thyroid hormones, which are escorters of iodine. The iodine has to get to certain places where it causes depolarization, like the mitochondria. So that's very much. You want to take care of your iodine and your thyroid together. And then you want to take melatonin. You want to take a lot. You want to get up to 180 at night. You work your way up to that. You want to do this because these are the fundamentals of supplements and all that. There's other ones you can take. Yeah, all sorts of ones you can take. But if you're eating a healthy diet, which you got to be, okay, fundamentally, you got to be eating human food. And I know there's people that don't agree with me uh, about what is human food, but that's the only way you could not agree is if you don't know, you haven't read. Because I'm telling you, if you understand it, it's just the way it is, right? Do you think? Listen, let me ask you a question. Do you think biologists have been stumped for the last 200 years on figuring out what it is frogs need to eat? No. Elephants, lions, grasshoppers, bears, wildebeest, carp. But with us, yeah, it's controversial. Why is it controversial? Are we not part of the biological? Yeah, we are. Well, then, so where do we fit biologically? How do you know? Well, how do you know? By anatomy and physiology, it's pretty clear, right? If you got a really long nose and your instincts tell you that ants are delicious, you're going to probably be called an anteater, but what a thing to call someone. Define someone by what they eat, right? There's a donut eater over there. Here, there's a burger eater. It's ridiculous. But anyway, anteater. If you're weigh like many tons and you're huge and humongous, you're probably going to be eating. You got this long nose, so that you can just grab things like that. You're grabbing and eating trees and plants and branches. How about a giraffe? Giraffe's got a really high head. You think it should be eating ants? No, I think it's probably going to be eating the top of the tree leaves, top of the trees. Anyway, and then when you look at the intestines, how long it is, what kind of enzymes it's producing, it tells you right there this is what you need, this is what this creature needs. So anyway, we'll go into all that at one point when we make this seminar on eating, on food, because I can see that it's. I saw a comment. Was it last week? When I finished on Restream. So I don't know if it was from YouTube. I don't know if it was from Facebook or whatever. And there's two guys talking, and they were talking about how I just didn't get it with regards to food. And one guy said he's been on a carnivore diet or something like that. So anyway, so nobody is on a carnivore diet. What? Yeah, nobody you've ever met is on a carnivore diet. How can I say such a thing? Well, because I know what carnivore means. You know what it means? Carnivore is an animal that eats animals alive. The cat family, from panthers, tigers, lions uh, almond over there, and Furby and cartoon. Okay, all right. These guys, in fact, if we don't domesticate them and they're in the wild, they won't eat a corpse. They won't eat a corpse. They have to eat it alive. I mean, they'll eat a corpse when things are desperate, but they want to eat it alive. They want to like bite it and eat it and drink the blood and eat the organs, and that's a carnivore. Now the scavenger, on the hand, like the dogs, the hyenas, the raccoons, the what else? Rat, even the bear. Um, they like they need anything, right? But they like to eat flesh that's already been dead. I think I think they're either lazy or they're doing it out of convenience. Maybe they're doing it out of convenience. It's more convenience to eat a corpse than to kill it yourself, I guess. But um, but that's what a scavenger does. So it's corpse eating. So whoever's thinking that they're a carnivore, they have to understand that they're, since they're not eating animals alive, they're not a carnivore, but they can be called easily a scavenger or a dog. So anyway, all of that. Now you say you've got CFCs in the bone marrow. That I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that means. If you have a metastasis to the bone from another organ, it's not going to be in the bone marrow. It's going to be in the bone. And if you have a primary tumor that's arising out of the bone, it's sarcoma. And again, it's not in the bone marrow; it's the bone. The bone marrow is the place where the red, red blood cells and white blood cells are made. So if you had it there, it would be a leukemia or something like that. But it doesn't matter, whatever it is. Leukemia just means you've got so many white blood cells during your you've just got a high white blood cell count, and it's found on a blood test. Well, I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, right? So, um, where's my water? Anyway, so I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, but really, if you're doing all these things, now the other thing is if it's in your bone, you have metastasis to your bone, you want to take doxycycline, 100 milligrams twice a day. Um, and you can also take azithromycin. Azithromycin is like uh, Zithromax. I don't usually talk about drugs. It's just that these two drugs happen to synergistically, actually along with vitamin C, synergistically block bone involvement. They do. So it's helpful in breast and it's helpful in prostate because they both have a predilection to go to the bone. But again, they're going to mess up your gut flora, and that's so. The question is it worth it? Well, I'd say it depends on the situation. Uh, if you have totally you went to like the best biological dentist, you had a cone beam, and you've taken care of everything, and really, so okay, you've done a thorough cleanse, and you're learning how to avoid. You're buying like Faraday clothing and all that. You're avoiding EMF exposure. Then uh, it all, you're not feeding the whole process anymore. So Gene, um, there's those are fundamentals, but and again, the doxycycline is really look it up. Look up doxycycline and bone metastasis. Look up azithromycin and bone metastasis. Now, the other nice thing about the synergy between the doxycycline and the vitamin C is it happens to be one of the most lethal uh, combination against CFC stem cells, right? Stem cells, and that's what spreads. So it stops them. It's like 100 times more effective than either of them alone. So there's a synergy there. So you have to say for a while I'm going to do these, take antibiotics, but I'll have to take a lot of probiotics as well, and eat healthy so that I don't need to take probiotics because I'm gonna the, the healthy ones are going to proliferate, and the ones that are not so good for me will not do well in the environment that I'm talking about, eating real food. So if you do all of that, Gene, and you're able to get a hold of doxycycline, um, that's 100 milligrams twice a day. Now, uh, okay, so I mean, part of that, is I hope you realize what I said earlier from Maria, going to bed early, all that sort of thing. But doing all of that is really the fundamentals. You gotta be getting enough vitamin C and all that. You check that by getting your fasting ascorbate level made, taking it. You check your vitamin D levels or check your vitamin A levels, um, and just to make sure you're getting them maxed out. You want your fasting ascorbate level to be at least 50 micromoles per liter. Okay. But those are fundamentals, and I said, and unfortunately, if you already got it, it'd be really helpful to get the doxycycline. The other thing you want to do is try to do um, a paradise, a parasite cleanse. And if you can't get access to the medications, then you can do Hulda Clark's and Cellcore together. Cellcore and Hulda Clark's together are going to be very good. That's do it yourself at home. Now, Karen, I was diagnosed with through there's construction next to it. Incredible. I was diagnosed through a biopsy with breast CFCs 3 years ago. I have not done any conventional, yay, but changed everything as you have recommended, and I feel marvelous. Unfortunately, the lump has slowly grown and actually looks like it will break through the skin. I have tried to do as much research as I can, but I can't find any information regarding what to do. I can only imagine that dealing with an open wound as well as the tumor would be difficult. I'm considering having a lumpectomy. Any thoughts? Very good, Karen. Excuse me, I gotta get some water. 1 second, please. Wow, there's not much left. What a bummer. Okay. Um, all right. Now you're doing everything that I have. I have not unconventional, but I've changed everything as you recommended. You feel marvelous. Okay, so everything is a lot. Have you taken care of your mouth? You're 100% sure that you've got it taken care of because you went to a biological dentist who's certified by IAOMT, certified, not just a member, certified, and they did it the right way. They used the comb beam. They did it the right way. They saw. They got it. You're 100% sure of that because something's not some. When you're in this situation, you have either not gotten all of the toxicities out, right? Because it's still happening, and or the tumor microenvironment. So what you got to do is those two things. We need to enhance immunity, and we need to eliminate toxins. How do we eliminate toxins? Well, the mouth, cleansing, all the things we have been talking about, and we continue to talk about. And you're doing it on an ongoing basis. So 3 years, meaning you should have been doing at least a 6 week juice cleanse every year. A juice cleanse is when you're drinking nothing but juices, not eating. Okay, and you're moving around every 90 minutes. You're getting up and doing vigorous movements for 10 minutes, and you're 5 times a day. My live was inactivated. Wait a minute. I did I tell you how much I love TikTok? My live was inactivated. What? Anyway, my live was inactivated for inactivity. Inactivity? What the hell? How could it be in? TikTok doesn't like me. I don't understand why TikTok says that I was inactive. Was I inactive? I thought I was moving. Wasn't I just talking for one? Was I like? Was I just imagining? Was I like living the life of such incredible convenience that I didn't realize that I wasn't moving and interacting? I thought I was moving. Anyway, I apologize, TikTok. I'll try to be more active. Um, Incredible, how amazing. Okay, so anyway, got TikTok. I don't know what happened. I hope you all know that if anything like that happens, and it's probably gonna happen for good, forever. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to Rumble. Um, Anyway, so okay, so Karen, are you? That's the cleansing. That's all that, right? And you're drinking the vitamin C. You got your level up. You checked your fasting ascorbate level, and it's 50 micromoles per liter. And your vitamin D is around 100, and your vitamin A is up to like 98 or so, upper limits of normal. And you're doing your iodine and your thyroid are completely taken care of. How about the adrenals too? Because you want to get your fasting cortisol and your yeah, I mean fasting. You want to get your AM cortisol and your PM around 7 or 8 AM, and then around 4 or 5 PM. Yeah, you want to get those. You take the average, then you can, and by your DHEA, you get your DHEAS. It's got to be number. just pure DHEA. It's fluctuating as throughout the day. It's being produced in different amounts. But the sulfated form is the storage form is pretty stable. So your DHEA, yes, and you want to make sure that your DHEA level, the ratio of your DHEA level to your cortisol is at least 10, 15 to 1. All right, so those are the things you do. Oh, um, uh, ah, okay, excuse me, guys. Do you like you bondo, kitwa, you bondo. Tino, excuse me, everybody. No, no, you bondo. Ah, ah. Adult, adult. Sorry, I'm sorry, everyone. Um, okay, so now you've done all that, and now we've got to get your immune system um, reactivated, because what happens is you can do a nice uh, lymphocyte subset where you look at your lymphocytes and you can see, let's say they look great. When they arrive at that tumor microenvironment, which has low oxygen and high acid, what happens is they get transformed. And so you get tumor-associated macrophages, tumor-associated neutrophils, both of which work for the tumor. And by the way, a large part of tumors' weight is tumor-associated neutrophils. Right? So now they're working against you. Okay. And then the other ones, like the natural killer cells and the dendritic cells, they just get paralyzed in that environment. And there's only one thing I know. Now, one thing, hyperthermia does it. If you can get somebody to keep you, get your body temperature up to about 40 degrees centigrade and keep you there for at least 2 hours, an hour, at least an hour, but 2 hours is preferable. That will help change the tumor microenvironment. But more easily, and something that you can do at home, that you can uh, uh, take control of, is you get the peptides thymosin alpha 1, where you're going to do about 2 milligrams subcutaneous injection daily until things are turned around, and then you can go every other day, and then you can work down like that. Then you're going to get methionine and enkephalin, which is also called MET5. It's a 5 amino acid peptide. Comes from your brain, spinal cord, sympathetic nervous system, and adrenal glands. They all make this normal. It's a normal. It's part of our system, and you're going to do. You're going to dilute it, and you're going to wind up with doing 2 cc's of sterile water. You dilute it, and you wind up with 50 units in a insulin syringe. Yeah, insulin syringe. 15. That's a half a cc. I mean, you're going to do that daily until things are turned around. Doing those two things really daily are going to help tremendously. But you have to have already taken care of all the other stuff, the vitamin A, vitamin D. Now, topically, I would put on iodine. It's got to be Lugols, or iodoral doesn't have a liquid, but get liquid Lugols, Lugols. Because why? Because it's a combination of iodide and iodine. The iodide is necessary for the thyroid. The iodine is necessary for the tumors. All right, it, it gets rid of them. Yeah, kills them, kills them, and it also is produces when the estrogens are being metabolized and the androgens are being metabolized, it causes them to be metabolized into the right direction that produces metabolites that don't harm, like estriol, right? And then and you can move it, and then the other one you want to do is you want to get brassica vegetables. Why do you want brassica vegetables? You want brassica vegetables so you don't eat that, like cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, wasabi, uh, maca, arugula. Yeah, anyway, um, but a lot of it. You need a lot of it, or you get the sprouts of broccoli, 2 tablespoons, 2 handfuls a day, and blend them in a blender and with make it a smoothie with flax seeds. Um, and why? Because that will upregulate phase 2 detoxification of your liver, which does what? It's going to help methylate the metabolites of your estrogen. And if you wind up with a two, uh, a two methoxy estradiol, that not only is not bad and or make things grow, it actually it's a treatment in and of itself to eliminate breast CFCs. 2-methoxyestradiol. And if you can get your practitioner to write a prescription and you can put it on topically, 2-methoxyestradiol, also called 2-ME2. But anyway, upregulating your phase 2 detoxification of your liver is going to allow that. It's going to increase your ability to methylate the different metabolites, which makes them um, turns them into being healthy. Isn't that crazy? Just adding a methyl group, it's crazy. All right, so you're gonna be putting on the topical iodine and put up, like put that on there a few times a day. It's just gonna go in there and it's gonna do its thing. You can add DMSO to help it penetrate, or you don't need to really. If you get a biopsy or a lumpectomy, because you're right, a wound will be a problem. So that's why you can prevent it, and it's up to you to get a lumpectomy or biopsy. But you know, there, the here, the problem is that I mean AI and Google, and people like that have really made it so that a lot of things that used to be online are not there anymore. Research. I should have downloaded it, but anyway. Uh, but there was a article that they forgot to take down in. It was published in what was it? 2000 and where is that? It was published in 2000. No, I can't find it. Anyway, so they're about those are biopsies, and the same goes for lumpectomies. They find that it actually stimulates seeding. In, it actually enhances the potential metastatic site by making it more of a hospitable soil for that seed to land in. Right? It actually does that. All right, so that's what biopsies do, and even fine needle biopsies do that. Fine needle biopsies do that, right? I mean, it's reported, right? And it provokes a systemic dissemination of CFCs and by activating the M2 by turning the M1 macrophages into the M2 macrophages, which are the TAMs that help tumors, right? And also it stimulates the COX2 uh, PG PGE2, EP2 pathway. So you don't have to know what that means. Just know that that pathway is related. It's a signaling pathway that's crucial for uh, the M2s to reshape the whole environment so that it's hospitable to CFCs. So that's what biopsies do. That's what surgeries do. There's a lot of information on that. And so if you're gonna have to do it, you have to do it sometimes. You have to do it. You want to prepare for it. You want it to be taking galactin. You want to be taking pectosol, um, and you want to clean out. You want to make sure that you're maxed out on all your required. Your healthy, your vitamin A, D, C. You want to make sure you're maxed out on that. You want to make sure your thyroid's functioning. You got your adrenals functioning. You're taking melatonin at night. You're doing all that, and you're meditating, and you're doing all that. And you take galactin-3, and then you want to make sure also when if you have to get a biopsy, which I don't recommend, or a lumpectomy, which I don't recommend. Um, but of course, if you're worried it's going to come through the skin, and I agree, that would be a total bummer. So, if you feel like you need to do it, do it. But I'm saying that I think if you really jumped on this, really 100%, I think you could prevent it. But you got to really jump on it. It's got to be your job in life, right? Oral hygiene as well. But you got to you. And by the way, if you don't do all the things we're saying to prevent it, if you don't do all those things, and then you do get it cut out, it's going to come back. That's the irony. That's the madness of it all. You got to do these things anyway, because either way, you understand. So it's pretty. You just got to do these things. Just got to do, and they're not bad. They're fun. You feel good. You get a lot of great feelings from them too, right? So, but the inflammatory response of these surgeries, the fact that it wakes up this whole tumor, this whole wound healing thing, which is all inflammatory, it just turns on the whole process of CFCs. It feeds it. But when you have to do it because you have a life-threatening situation or whatever, then you do it, but you still got to do all these other things. You have to prevent it. All right. So now, and well, there. It was 2023. Here was a needle biopsy accelerates pro-metastatic changes and systemic dissemination in breast CFCs. So they're saying if you do get a biopsy, you got to get surgery within 53 days. That's how that was their take on this whole thing. Um, I guess if you got a biopsy and didn't get surgery within 53 days, your chances of dying were quicker. But then that article did not even discuss the problems associated with the surgery, because the surgery is like actually worse. When you got to do it, you got to do it, and you do it by being precautious and doing all the things you need to do. Okay, so you know, I'm really sorry that I have a lot of these questions I've answered many times, and they should be available to you, so you don't have to ask them, and you can ask other questions because what is the opinion about hormone blockers for breast CFCs? Can estrogen imbalance, like high estrogen, cause CFC, breast CFC? Yeah. Well, so hormone blockers the way. Okay. First of all, we're talking about estrogen. We're talking about estrogen receptor alpha, and there's also estrogen receptor beta. Estrogen receptor, and have the net effect as being beta, which shrinks tumors down. and that little bit that's on the alpha that can't override the beta is in effect blocking it, like a hormone blocker. And that's called estriol, and that's called soy in all of its forms. Green tea, flax, all of those things are estrogen blockers and stimulating the beta receptor, which makes them shrink. So yes, and when you take hormone blockers, or you go so far as to get a shot that's going to turn off your whole pathway from your brain down to your ovaries, um, you know, like Lupron, um, what happens is within a year or so, you develop what they now call hormone resistant breast CFCs or hormone resistant prostate, right? In other words, because it wasn't the hormones in the first place that did it. They haven't, they didn't cause it. Okay, there's nothing that our body produces for normal physiological function that actually uh, can cause CFCs. It just doesn't happen that way. So there was a severe imbalance took place, and that's what happened, right? Um, but so in terms of the hormone blockers, like there's a lot of there's letrozole, there's uh, tamoxifen, there's all those things, and then there's aromatase inhibitors, which block testosterone from being converted to estradiol, and androstenedione from being converted to estrone, right? Um, when you want to block those, I mean, that's what the aromatase inhibitors do. Because aromatase is an enzyme that is in certain cells, especially fat cells, that's able to make that conversion. Now, iodine with the molecular iodine, the I2, not the iodide, that is a natural aromatase inhibitors. And there are other ones too, like nettles, sulfametal, things like that are natural ways of doing it. So you can block that. Because I agree that it'd be nice to get that blocked. Or no, it's not blocking. What it's doing is preventing conversion of androgens into estrogens. And that's very important because that is, especially if a woman is postmenopausal, her ovaries are no longer making estrogens. So now her adrenal glands are still making and androgens, like her adrenals are no longer making estrogens, but her adrenal glands are still making androgens such as DHEA, androstenedione, testosterone. They, when they get the fat tissue like the breast, get converted into estrogen. So that's, you can actually have higher estrogen levels in the breast than you do in your blood for that reason. So if you can block those aromatase inhibitors, it would be helpful. It would be great. Okay, so but let's do it naturally. We don't need to, because the drugs have so many side effects that if you horrible side effects. Read those side effects, and they're not side effects; they're effects. All right. So now, can estrogen imbalances like high estrone cause breast CFCs? Estrogen imbalances, yes, that's what contributes greatly to it. In addition to root canals and all this other stuff going on in the body, and then this, it's a formula. The so the thing is to restore the balance. That's all. And you restore the balance by taking a good evaluation by doing a blood test and then sending the urine off for a urine metabolite so you can see the metabolites that are being produced. And then you restore balance with biologically identical plant-based hormones. And that's very commonly done. And by restoring balance, then you don't have to consider that. I mean, that question goes away. It's a very good question. And it is, you know, contributes greatly to developing it. Oh, this is from Chris, and she says, "What are your most effective? What are the most effective integrated therapies for metastatic? And what are your thoughts on photodynamic therapy and its effectiveness?" All right. So again, metastatic and non-metastatic are pretty much the same, because even if someone doesn't have observable metastasis by CT or PET scan or anything like that, they've got microscopic metastasis all over the place. So yeah. So the most effective therapies are doing everything I said before. I took notes. I hope you got to start with the mouth. Got to be complete. All the stuff we talked about, cleansing, all that stuff. Now, in terms of interventions, vitamin C, done the correct way, um, with a good source. The good source for your doctor to get is Pure C, PURC. It's got the best. It's the purest sodium ascorbate you can get. And the reason why you want sodium ascorbate, because our bodies have only the receptor that absorbs ascorbate into the body are called sodium dependent vitamin C transporters. So they need the sodium. So to get it IV, um, that one place is where I get it from, and many doctors do. Pure C, very good, because it's fresh. It's a powder. It hasn't been reconstituted, because if it's reconstituted, they have to put in preservatives usually. Um, and so you reconstitute it at the time you're going to use it, and then um, it's fresh. Put a dark cloth or bag over it so that it doesn't get sunlight while you're getting the IV, to prevent further oxidation, and also light generated free radicals and stuff. So so yes, estrogen imbalances they contribute greatly. So what do we want to do? We want to restore balance. That's what we want to do. Really, that's the thing. Now, let's see. Let's get back down to. Okay. This is from Rose. A dear friend is undergoing aggressive treatment for leukemia. Treatment began within weeks of diagnosis. She is of the integrative mindset, having healed Lyme's and discovered methylation issues. Her body is struggling hugely with the toxic load. What can she be doing during chemo to lessen the burden or to keep her body processed? She is seeking an alternative oncologist currently. All right, so yeah, you need to get an integrative oncologist. Rose, she needs to get um, in leukemias, a lot of times it's very helpful to do IPT, insulin potentiated low dose chemo, and there's a way to do that. Yeah. So you've got to find someone who's doing that and who's been trained by Dr. Donato Perez Garcia the third, who's alive today, who's the grandson of the guy that invented IPT. Okay, so that's very, very important. Um, And so yeah, you've got to find an alternative. Um, so treatment began within weeks of a diagnosis, and what you mean by treatment is chemo, and it's probably she's had a lot. You're right; it's a toxic load. So she's got to be. I hope you were listening to everything we said. All the cleansing, got to do those cleansing. Got to, and it's ongoing. Have to. Otherwise, it won't ever go away. And then the tumor microenvironment, right? We got to work on that. Okay, that usually takes care of it. But if you're in a crisis or anything like that, you've got a really high white blood cell count, leukemia, then chemo in a rational form, a rational way of poisoning people is to give them uh, low doses of chemotherapy, right? Instead of high doses of chemotherapy. All right. So, um, yeah, she's got to find an integrative oncologist. I agree. Uh, what are your thoughts? This is from Britt. What are your thoughts on wine and tequila? Do the polyphenols and antioxidants make it worthy of drinking a few times a week, or abstain from alcohol at all costs? All right. Um, wine. The thing about wine is it's uncooked. It's just pure fermentation. Whereas beer and whiskey is a cooking process. So and the polyphenols are good, and if it can take off your angst and all your negativity, and you haven't gotten your meditation up to where it should be and all that, then yes, no sulfites added, organic, and not a lot, um, and not every day, but yeah, I mean, there's a role, but it makes you comfortable as long as you don't put a burden on your liver. That's the whole problem. But with getting drunk, now tequila, on the other hand, I don't know how you can drink tequila without drinking too much, or getting to the point of being drunk. I mean, wine you can get just a little buzz on, but it's easier to control. By but it's not so easy with tequila because I mean nobody sips tequila. You just either drink it or put it in the tequila sunrise or margarita or something. But if you do the shots, but nobody does the what do you call it? Sips tequila. Mm. Anyway, that's too strong. It's too much alcohol. You're gonna go past the point of it helping you. But the wine would be good. No sulfites added, organic, and if it's something you really enjoy uh, but don't do it every day. Try but a little glass is not gonna hurt you. Not gonna hurt you. A few times a week, not gonna hurt you. From Jill, have you seen type 1 diabetes reversed with parasite protocol? No. Type 1 diabetes is the one where your pancreas is no longer making insulin. If you can catch that early when it first happens, you can help someone. But once you've had it for a while, yeah, you can't. Make By eating healthy, you can make their insulin requirements very, very minimal. Very minimal. you can actually not let that happen. You can reverse it. Type ones, but once it's been around for a while, and the pancreas really doesn't have uh, the cells that it needs to make the insulin. So that's the problem. Okay, so now, okay, so this is from Am, and what can I take for menopausal symptoms, night sweats, hot flashes, instead of biological hormone treatments? Strong family history of estrogen positive breast. Tried lots of things, but nothing works long term. Endocrinologist says only to take over-the-counter supplements. Listen, okay, biologically identical hormone replacement. Remember, there's estrone, estradiol, and estriol. Estriol does what you want it to do. It'll shrink the tumor if you have. I mean, in other words, you have a strong family history of ER positive. Fine, that's ER alpha positive. So the estriol is gonna stimulate the beta, and the soy is gonna stimulate the beta. Eating miso, eating natto kinase, eating natto, eating edamame, eating tofu, eating tempeh. All those. Eat them, a lot of it. All right. Flax seeds. Grind up 3 tablespoons of flax seeds. Put it in your smoothie every day, fresh. Um, all the cruciferous vegetables, all these things. Um, and they work on it. The iodine works on estrogen. Okay, and so it's all very, very important uh, to do that, and to so, but the estriol, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But you could do estriol, which is not, it's very mild alpha and mostly beta. So the net effect is beta, which is shrinking it. So it's up to you on that. But the other things, putting 2 drops of Lugol's 5% iodine, liquid iodine, on each breast every day. 2 drops, okay, to help metabolize estrogens, to healthy metabolites. All right. All right. So, but that's what you, okay. So for menopausal symptoms, that's what you can take. All right. I'm telling you, but I would get the estriol. Estriol. You need like 3 grams of it, 3 milligrams of it, and it'll help, and it'll prevent what you're worried about. Okay. Okay. So this is Ava, and she says, "I 41-year-old female, not overweight, 4 children, no chronic conditions, sudden heavy and prolonged menstruation, periods very long, almost 10 days. Wow, which never happened before. Ultrasound done on day 8 showed blood circulation in fundus of uterus and small liquid collection in the cul-de-sac. Horrible pain in the vulva the last 5 weeks. It started right after the last period. had UTI, and you had UTI 10 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks before previous period, and cured it without antibiotics with high dose vitamin C, mannose, and golden seal. Check hormones a month ago and all in low normal range, but with almost non-existent testosterone. Any helpful insights? Also, some enlarged lymph nodes in the right groin. Otherwise, uh, ovaries and cervix without any changes. Could this all happen with the UTI not clearing out, or my hormones went crazy? So, yeah, no, UTI should not affect your menstrual cycle like that. Um, that's an imbalance of hormones, and so um, you got to go to a doctor's and look at your LH, FSH, make sure you're not going into menopause, or or perimenopausal. But the other things you want to check are um, you've got to balance your your hormones. Now, if you have non-existent testosterone, that is unusual. Your DHEA is most likely low, and DHEA goes down because remember, DHEA is the precursor for estrogens and progesterone and testosterones. So the precursor is DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone. Okay, that is made by the adrenal glands, and that will becomes estrogens and testosterone. So if you're low on testosterone, I'll bet it's could be DHEA. And a lot of women can just take DHEA, maybe 15, 25 milligrams a day, which they can get online. And you can get your DHEA levels up nicely. And that, of course, will increase all their downstream derivatives, which are estrogen and testosterone. So, I feel like maybe didn't satisfactorily answer your question, but you have enlarged lymph node on your right groin. So I don't know what that lymph node is. It could be UTI. It could be a vaginal infection. You could have a an infection in your and again, infections are just imbalances in the vaginal biome. So you've got to always go back to the biome, right? And that has to do with eating and taking uh, uh, oral probiotics, also rectal probiotics. You could do at night before sleeping. Um, but you're 41, so and for this to suddenly happen, that's very strange. So you've got to get your hormones checked. Now, um, I don't know where you live, and I don't know who your practitioner is, but just say you've just got to get start out initially with just a blood test because that'll help you figure out what if anything's obvious, and then later once we get you started on something to bring back uh, balance, we can that later on we could do look do a urine spot for looking at your which is done through the Dutch test or it's done through I always forget that place. Anyway, it's in Arizona because of the beat. Anyway, um, but you can get that test. Also, ZRT Labs does it, um, and we can look at the urinary metabolites, which is very important. But something, what happened? What happened? This was suddenly you started getting heavy periods. And are you getting anything else? Are you getting like so? I would go get it checked out. I would get a a hormone panel, which is estradiol, estrone, DHEAS, testosterone, and you can get percent. You can get percent and free, percent free in total. Um, I would also check the adrenal glands, AM and PM, and you can do thyroid function if you want, but they're usually useless unless the TSH is really high or really low, and you're not taking any supplements. Then that is we got to figure out what's going on with that. All right, so um, but small enlargement, right? Overrated. Well, I'm not sure with the swollen lymph node. I think there's a vaginal infection. UTI doesn't usually cause that, whereas an actual vaginal infection will. But um, anyway, and again, that's a dysbiosis. That's a dysbiosis too. By cleaning up your gut biome, you can do it. Now, if you can control that with manos for now, and the other things, and not have any symptoms, then I would actually change my diet, like all that, so that I get my new gut biome. And they actually have vaginal probiotics you can buy. Um, like at Sprouts and Whole Foods and places like that. Um, so that would increase uh, the healthy ones there. Now remember, if they don't have the right food to eat, they won't stay around. And that means you have to be eating healthy foods, human foods, right? Okay. Um, but very strange, Ava. I mean, for suddenly at 41, 10-day periods. So what's happening is it looks like you may not be ovulating, and if you're not ovulating, you're gonna uh, or maybe you don't ovulate for a few times, and which means it builds up. Because the estrogen was still being produced, but you weren't getting your progesterone, so you weren't having good clearance, and so you built up a large excess of endometrial tissues in there, and so now they're coming out. So maybe now you're ovulating. So that's why when you check your hormones, have the doctor check it on anywhere from day 19 up to day like 23 of your cycle. And day one of the cycle is always the first drop of blood, first indication that you're starting your period. That is it. Okay, so that's what you got to do. Got to find out what's going on. And so the reason we do it on days 19 through 23 is because if you look at the cycle of estrogens and progesterone, the first part of the cycle from starting with day zero is the estrogens go up, and they usually peak around day 12 or 13, and then they have an immediate deceleration, and that stimulates ovulation. That is, the egg comes out. Now, the place from which the egg comes out becomes something called the corpus luteum, and that's where the progesterone is produced. So, if the egg didn't come out that month, in other words, you didn't have an ovulation, you won't have a corpus luteum, and you won't be producing progesterone, and so you'll be pretty dominant. So, imagine if you did that for a while, and now now for some reason you're either producing progesterone now because you are ovulating, or it's just coming out because there's so much in there. Um, you built up an excess. It's really hard to know without doing any tests, but that's what you need. You really need to get to go to someone who knows what they're doing. Um, if you join our group, then you can share your information on there, and we can talk about it. Um, so this is we have time for one. I was doing coughing enemas, and every other day, and I ended up getting a UTI that grew Klebsiella. I have stopped all detox, but every 2 weeks I get back this terrible UTI. Is it possible that the coffee enemas pushed out bacteria that is now inhabiting my bladder? I also had a few issues with BV, but I think I have that control with the homemade coconut oil, garlic oil, or vaginal suppressor. BV. Oh, vaginosis. Okay. Uh, Also, could parasitic overgrowth be throwing off my microbiome? Anything you can think of. I eat a very clean diet. Plant-based, mainly raw. I eat green juices, celery. Oh, wow! You're taking lots of really good things. Okay, very good. So she's taking vitamin D, methylated prenatals, vitamin D 2000, zinc, selenium, magnesium glycinate, Lugol's, and sodium ascorbate 7 to 7. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, it sounds pretty amazing. I hope you can remember to get that multi mineral uh, capsules. I think it's called complete multi mineral. There's many of them, but it's got all those in it. It's got the zinc, selenium. It's got all that. So you don't have to take all these different ones and magnesium. You can just take those 2 or 3 twice a day. Anyway, um, no, the coffee enema is not going to cause uh, a UTI. No. Um, so now, if you took antibiotics for UTI, what you can do is you can sometimes disturb you disturb the microbiome, the biome in the vagina. Um, what can happen too is now it grew out Klebsiella, but that's just we were always thinking that the organism that grows out is the organism that was causing it, but it's it could be that microorganisms exist to clean up the mess. They didn't make it. And but so BRCA2, don't worry about it. Just I wish you didn't find that out because you don't need to know that. It's just going to put fear in you because that's what they want. Doesn't mean anything. It just means you have to be really healthy. That's what it means. Um, so the bacterial vaginosis is, well, many things. It can just be an imbalance of your biome. It could be that you have um, a protozoal um, parasite. But in any case, metronidazole and/or tinidazole, which I think is actually better. Tinidazole, I would do that like 150 milligrams or 500 milligrams if you can get it like daily for like a week. Will get rid of any protozoal activity going on in your vaginal biome. Other than that, the restoring healthy um, vaginal biome is really important too. Now, I would look for vaginal um, probiotics in a suppository form. Now, that'd be really good because you can insert them at night when you go to sleep, so they won't come out. And I think that would be really, really nice because if you could restore the balance in there, um, you know, I think you'll be fine. Now, you had your amalgams removed, and I hope it was done by a biological dentist, and they were SMART certified, right? So you've been okay. So you've stopped all detox, but every 2 weeks you get back this terrible UTI. Oh, because you thought Coffee enema is a retention enema. It's different. You can replace the coffee enema by eating 2 handfuls of broccoli sprouts in your smoothie with 3 ground up flaxseed, 3 tablespoons of ground up flaxseed, nut milk, and then anything you want, strawberries, pineapple, whatever you want to make it taste delicious. Drink that daily. All right, so that will anyway. What that's going to do is it's going to um, help your body's ability to detoxify, and it helps with estrogen metabolism. Very, very important. Okay, you want to keep your estrogen metabolism balanced, um, and you've got to eat healthy. You're eating healthy. That's fantastic. So look for some vaginal suppositories, um, and what else is going on? Because there's some changes in the vaginal flora with pregnancy, because there's higher levels of estrogens, and it's those estrogens and the other hormones that actually stimulate glands in the ovaries to produce different qualities of secretion, and those secretions are food for the microorganisms in the vagina. So they change. That's why throughout the month, during a woman's fertile period, days 12 through 15 or something, um, she is more amorous, ready to mate, and that's because of hormones. But also the hormones are that are being produced stimulate different glands in the uterus, so that the mucus or the secretion that comes out during all days except for the fertile days, all of the other days of the month except for the fertile days. On all those days, the mucus, it breaks real easily if you were to put it between your fingers, and it is it produces an acidic. But when the microorganisms metabolize it, they produce a very low pH, acidic. Now that's spermicidal, so we'll kill the sperms. And also the sperm can't climb up those mucus because it keeps breaking. But right around the fertile time, that all changes, because the nature of the differing amounts, the ratios of the estrogen and progesterone affect the glands of the uterus, so that the mucus is more, when it's metabolized, it's more stringy. When you hold it like that, and when it's metabolized, it produces more alkalinity, so it's not spermicidal. And then because it's stringy like that, the sperm can crawl up it. So and you're more what's the word, Nyan, in Thai, and the word is amorous, loving. There's another word, but I won't say it, but you all know what I mean. So that's what happens around that time. And so those are the changes in the vaginal mucosa secretions, which modify the vaginal microorganisms. But you had to have had healthy ones there in the first place for that to happen. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be healthy if you're eating that way. So I don't know what's going on with you, but I would definitely uh, you don't stop your. I mean, you can stop your coffee enema if you don't like to do it, but you need enemas still. You got to clean that out. You can't. You got to clean it out. That's not causing it. Okay, they aren't. They're only going to be able to set up camp if there's an imbalance, and the imbalance has to do with what food is available for them to eat. That okay, that changes. That's how they change their relative proportions. All right, but remember, being pregnant too is going to change things too. So you got to just really, um, I don't know, you're being followed by a pediatrician or by an obstetrician. You might want to check your progesterone levels if they're high enough, estriol levels. Find out about your hormones, and maintain your vaginal biome, I would use, if you can find vaginal suppositories, and your gut biome, because they're really close, and so they share. So you want to have a healthy gut biome as well. um, the BRCA2 means nothing. It just means that one of your um, chromosomes on one side, from one parent, apparently has a problem with one particular enzyme in DNA. That's all. The other one doesn't, so you'll be fine, unless you have problems of toxic lifestyle, which you don't. But if you did, then that would be the problem. So there's no way you're going to get another somatic mutation if you're living the way you're living. There's no way. So it can't happen. So don't worry about that, because if you're living healthy, you cannot get a somatic mutation unless you're exposed to things that you're not aware of. If you're exposed to electromagnetic frequencies that you're not aware of, like 5G, 8G, whatever these things are, and some, maybe something else in your environment that you're not aware of that you might be being exposed to. I don't know. But I know what I'm saying is that you can't develop that if you're living the way you're doing. So that's excellent. That's excellent. You had the amalgams removed. Again, I hope they're removed by. So congratulations on eating that way. Congratulations on being so, like, doing all the right things for you and your new baby that's coming along. And I'm sure your husband's on board with all that. I think it's fantastic. You just have to just get rid of the BRCA. You're not BRCA2. I promise you're not. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. Don't let them. It's not a thing. It does not have. It doesn't mean. It doesn't. I got to do a whole talk on that, because it's not at all what they say. It's just another scare tactic. Yes, 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 yes. Almost 10% of the people that have breast CFCs have BRCA. Okay, that means 90% don't. So 90% of the people that don't have BRCA one or two have breast CFCs. So my question is this: does the people that have the BRCA, how do we know that the breast CFC is from the BRCA? Because these other 90% got it without having the BRCA. So how do we know that the BRCA did it? We don't. I'll go into that more, but I just want you to throw away the fear. Get rid of those words. Breast cancer. All right, so there. I had to play jigsaw puzzle. Okay, breast cancer. That's all it is. BRCA, breast cancer. Now, it that that's the name of a gene. They named it that so that you listen. Uh, do you remember? Do you remember when Angelina uh, found out she was BRCA? I don't know if it was one or two, and made this big deal. Got prophylactic, all kinds of surgeries and stuff. The thing is, uh, yeah. I mean, I'm almost ready to rename this to the Brangelina uh, uh, gene, because I think she was. I don't know if she was for real or not. She really had all the surgeries and did all that stuff, or if she was just trying to be like a celeb. I'm a celebrity and I'm for doing all this stuff prophylactically. Uh, because here's the thing: if that was full blown, both chromosomes for that particular enzyme are are defective, right? So you really lack DNA. You still have other enzymes in the right. Okay, According to the way they look at it, it puts you at risk of breast, ovary, pancreas, and colon. So they have you do a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy and a prophylactic total abdominal hysterectomy and bilateral oophorectomy, meaning they're taking out the uterus and the fallopian tubes and the ovaries and the breasts. Then they don't take out the uterus, the colon. They don't take out the pancreas. So what about that? Okay, so they don't take those out, right? And do you know that I have had at least 6 women in my all the time that I've been doing this that had developed ovarian CFCs long after their ovaries were removed. What? Yes. So yes, yes. How does that happen? You know, no, don't let anyone ever think. Don't be convinced that anybody knows what the understands the body. The body is incomprehensible, but it is fantastic, and it just needs to be loved, nourished, fed, balanced, put to bed. You take care of it. It's divinely produced, so it's going to be vibrant. All you got to do is make sure that it's getting what it needs. That's all. And keep things balanced, and you're going to figure out how to do it. You're not going to figure out how to fix it because it's not broken. Anyway, you're doing great, Katie. And you know, post again. I mean, keep this going. I hope you join the group so we can, talk about things more in detail. If you guys join these groups, we can talk about your situation. It's as if we're doing consults. So it's like we can get much more specific. That's the good thing. So anyway, it's late, and so wake up. And I'm sorry I started late, but what time is it? Well, we made it up. We made it up. We were a little bit so okay. And I don't know how long I was off on TikTok. I didn't know I was off on TikTok. Anyway, so wake up. Namaste. Namaskar and aloha. See you all next week. And where are we here? Yeah, see you next week at the